Imagine the scene. The date is December 30th, 1943. While most of the world was engulfed in flames of the Second World War, and while India was still legally choked by British chains, one man stood tall in Port Blair. Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose. On that day, he did not ask for permission, he did not draft a petition, he hoisted the Indian tricolour and declared the islands free. It was a revolutionary act. It was a declaration that sovereignty is not something you beg for at a round table, it is something you take. Netaji knew a truth that many forgot, that freedom is not a gift of charity, it is the price of strength. He understood that a nation is not defined by the treaties it signs in submission, but by the ground it holds in defiance. 4 years before 1947, India had already asserted its soul. But why does this matter today? Well, because Prime Minister Narendra Modi yesterday reminded us of this specific legacy. He drew a line in the sand. He said that freedom, real freedom, is not achieved merely through aspiration. You can't wish to be strong. You can dream of being a superpower, but reality respects only one thing: resolve. And the lesson from Netaji, echoed by the Prime Minister, is that national strength, discipline, and unity matter far more than moral posturing. For decades, we were told that being good was enough. We were wrong. In a volatile world, being good without being strong makes you a victim. And history is whispering to us right now that weakness is a provocation, that strength is the only guarantee of peace. And right now, India is standing at the edge of its greatest opportunity. Look at the numbers. Nearly 70% of our population is of working age. We are the youngest engine of growth on the planet. But listen to me closely. This window will not last forever. Demographics are like a tide. They rise and then they fall. This is not the time for incremental progress. We cannot afford to walk. We have to sprint. Because this is a once-in-a-civilization moment. If we get this right, we secure the vision of a developed India by 2047. But if we get this wrong, we squander the potential of a billion dreams. And today, I want to speak directly to the young Indians watching this, the Gen Z. You live in an age of 60-second reels and headlines. But I am urging you, read deeper. Do not look at history through slogans, look at it through consequences. You need to understand how India reached where it is today. And you need to ask why, for decades after independence, we crawled when we should have been flying. We have to talk about the governance failures that held us back. We have to talk about the lost decades. Because if you do not know who wasted your past, you will not recognize who is trying to sell you a broken future. Let's look at the facts. No rhetoric, just the timeline. Go back to 1991. India was on its knees. We were facing a catastrophic balance of payment crisis. We had to pledge our gold just to keep the lights on. And at that time, upon his return, Manmohan Singh served as an economic advisor to the Prime Minister and soon after became Finance Minister. He was right there in the cockpit during the crash. Now, fast forward. Years later, the same man became Prime Minister. He led the country for a decade. And what happened? Under that same leadership, India was branded one of the world's fragile 5 economies. So, ask yourself, is that a coincidence or is it a pattern? A pattern of vulnerability, a framework of leadership that time and again leaves India exposed to the mercy of global winds. And this leads to the most uncomfortable question of the UPA era. Who was really in charge? Because in a democracy, the person who sits in the chair must hold the pen. But during those years, did the Prime Minister exercise full control or was power concentrated elsewhere? This is not a personal attack. This is a question of accountability. Because if the person visible to the public is not the one making decisions, then who are we holding responsible when things go wrong? But economic mismanagement is one thing. Compromising national security is another. We need to talk about the Delarue controversy. For those who do not know, currency printing plates are the key to a nation's sovereign economy. They are a matter of supreme national security. Yet, there are allegations, serious allegations, that printing contracts were given to firms with links to foreign intelligence and hostile nations. This goes beyond corruption. Corruption is stealing money, but giving the keys of your economy to adversaries, that enters the realm of betrayal. Why were these decisions made? And why does a political ecosystem continue to protect those accused of such compromises? Look, let's be honest. You might not agree with everything the current government does. That is your right. That is democracy. Question them, hold them accountable. But there is a difference between disagreement and danger. You have to ask yourself, are you willing to hand power back to a system associated with repeated economic collapse? Are you willing to trust a machinery that has a history of compromising national security? Because disagreement is healthy, but restoring a broken system is a risk this nation cannot afford. And I know India is not yet perfect. We are not yet the society of our dreams. But we have stopped apologizing for our ambition. And today, we are walking on the path of strength. We are finally looking the world in the eye, not as a petitioner, but as a partner. The year 2047 is not just a date on a calendar. It is a deadline. It is a promise we must make to the men like Netaji who fought when hope was scarce. We must hold the line. We must continue this journey, strong, sovereign, unbreakable. But now I want to turn this over to you. History is not just written by leaders, it is written by the people who choose them. So, do you believe that India is finally on the path to reclaiming its true potential? Or do you think that we are ignoring the warnings of the past? I want to hear your perspective. So, go to the comments below and tell me what is the one change you think is non-negotiable for India to become a developed nation by 2047. And if you believe that facts matter and that our history deserves to be told without filters, then share this video, get this conversation started in your family groups and your circles. And if you want to stand with us as we decode the past to understand the future, hit that subscribe button. Don't just watch from the sidelines, join the narrative. Jai Hind.